This is Spoiler Country, a podcast about comics, movies, whatever, but mostly comics. Enjoy.
Previously on Spoiler Country.
Well, to me, it's like, if you're going to cheat on your wife, why get married?
Yeah, that's a great
why
point.
Why go through that whole thing?
Yeah.
Just stay
single.
If
you want to sleep around, don't get married. Don't get in a relationship if you want to sleep around. Just don't do it. Don't be a douchebag. Come on.
Right. Well, I mean, no one sets out to be a douchebag, right? No one goes, I'm going to get married and then I'm just going to cheat around on my wife.
Right.
I don't. Well, I'm sure there's some people that have that.
All right. Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric and that's Johnny Horsley. And today on our show, Black Panther review.
Yep, we finally saw it.
Yeah. Well, I saw it on
Monday.
Well, I saw it on Monday, so I saw it yesterday.
I saw it on Tuesday today.
And then you saw it today, and it came out on Friday.
I mean, we say finally, but it's only been out for 4 days. We see it in the first 4 days. We're going to talk about it, but still, just I wanted to see it on Friday. I didn't get a chance to because of life. But
and usually we don't see a movie on opening day.
We don't usually, unless it's like the big DC movie. I try to, but mostly it's like I wait until the next week, anyways. So this is fine.
What'd you think of the movie?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to give the spoiler of what I thought of the movie now, or do we want to let everybody listen through the show?
Well, I don't think it's that big a deal. Do you?
I liked it. I loved it.
I think it's okay.
I loved it. I mean,
I loved it too.
Yeah,
I think it's great. And we were lucky enough to have two amazing guys on. We had Morgan Iverson and Danny J. Quick.
Yep. But before we talk to them, though, we actually talked about Black Panther and some stuff on one of our South Park episodes, and we ended up cutting it from the episode because it didn't quite fit. It's about 15 minutes of audio that I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and let's put it in this episode because it's a lot of good points in that episode from you and me, and it kind of leads to us getting Danny and Morgan on to talk about Black Panther. So I kind of wanted to keep that and put it in here so everybody could hear those thoughts, because I think there's some poignant things said by both you and by me in that.
Awesome. Let's do this. So tomorrow we'll do another South Park and we'll go over it again. But I want to take a little bit of time because you posted an interesting thing on Facebook about the Black Panther. And
I did.
And then generally curious, and there's a huge push to see Black Panther right now in the African-American community. GoFundMe's to fund taking Black dominant schools to go see it on field trips, which I think is awesome, actually.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. This is a genuine curiosity of
Octavia Spencer
post.
talking about renting out theaters for Black kids, both of which are awesome. This is actually, I don't know why I'm reading it, but this is Johnny Horsley's words. It's okay. It's just because Black Panther is the first superhero that is approachable, for that's Black and has a heavy influence of African culture. And there's a lot of positives in responses. There. Yeah, it's gotten a lot of responses. Yeah, and the thing is you posted this like an hour ago or something like that, and I just now saw it right before we got on, and I was like, that's kind of interesting because I read an article today, okay? And it's they don't talk about the African-American angle, okay? But what they are talking about is that there is a group of DC fans attempting to sabotage Black Panther's Rotten Tomatoes audience score. And they actually have a Facebook page that says, help us ruin Rotten Tomatoes score of the Black Panther. Black Panther, and this is on...
It's so dumb.
Yeah. This is on comicbook.com, and you can just Google Black Panther, Rotten Tomatoes, Facebook, or anything like that, and it should pop up right away. So Black Panther may be one of the most eagerly anticipated movies this year. But not everyone wants to see the latest entry of the Marvel Cinematic Universe succeed. There are some who actively want to see it fail. Specifically, a group of DC fans want to see Black Panther fail so much that they put together a plan to sabotage the film. A group has made an event on Facebook called Give Black Panther a Rotten Audience Score on Rotten Tomatoes. That is encouraging people to go into the review aggregator site, Rotten Tomatoes, and deliberately give the Marvel film an artificially low score. The event, which as of the time of this article has nearly 2,000 people on board, 2,000, is in response to what the creators claim was Disney's planting bad reviews or paying critics for negative press for DCEU films. Give the massive success of the audience review rigging on the tomato site Star Wars: The Last Jedi due to the sudden rise in those disgruntled with Disney business practices, among other factors, especially due to the corporate manipulation which created falsified bad press for the DCEU. I feel that it's time to strike back at all those under Disney and bring down the House of Mouse's action for paying off the critics that hurt DC Comics on film and for the parties affected by them.
This feels like, we've joked about this before, and I have lots of podcasts, lots of YouTube sites joke about, Disney paying off critics, whatever, but unless there's some kind of fucking proof, taking a movie just on pure speculation, or trying to take a movie just on pure speculation is idiotic, stupid.
Well, the organizers also state that they intend to create similar events for every Marvel offering, including Netflix series, in an attempt to truly make a difference.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First off, they're not going to tank Black Panther. Black Panther already has so much buzz. It's already outsold, pre-sold every other fucking Marvel movie ever made.
Oh, has it really?
Oh, yeah. It outsold Captain America Civil War, which was the previous leader in the first day, as far as first day sales.
Wow.
And it's done nothing but sell more. I mean, when you have GoFundMes and people saying, hey, I'm going to buy out the whole fucking theater so kids can go see it, it's going to get a lot of pre-sales. It's already selling out theaters,
Right.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this becomes Marvel's highest moneymaker or one of the top 3 moneymakers for movies.
Interesting. What if you go and you just hate it? You're just like, this is a piece of shit. Bad direction, bad writing. Just the only thing good about it is the guy that played Black Panther.
I highly doubt that's going to be the case.
Right.
If it is, then I'll say that, but I'll say it nicely, But I highly doubt that.
Here's the deal with me on this movie. I feel like this movie has given a group that has been disenfranchised with this particular style of movie making. Blade is the only other big, specifically black hero that was a modicum of success in the theater.
Yeah, 20 years ago, and it was a bloody movie. It was R-rated bloody movie.
The rating is irrelevant, but I'm just saying that it had a modicum of success.
Well, no, it is relevant in the fact that this movie is approachable for kids to see themselves as a superhero, as somebody powerful, whereas Blade, the kids couldn't do that.
Yeah, well, you're not letting me finish my thought.
It is relevant. Well, you said it wasn't relevant.
Well, it's not really relevant. I mean, it's relevant in the way that you're like, well, for kids, okay. But the fact that it is of a cultural significance for a whole group of people, it is not as relevant. That's all I'm saying, is that you have one that is... The Black Panther is obviously going into a stratosphere of... What's the word I'm looking for? Not... Like, there's an expectation with this film.
There is.
It's they have an African country that is being, albeit an imaginary one, but still, it's a superhero coming from the African continent that is, of importance, and it's something that a group of people is things. And for me, this is the wrong movie to do this to. Do this on Avengers.
Yeah, I agree. Do it for Avengers. Do it for Infinity War, not this.
So what I'm saying is, if you're going to do it to Avengers. I mean, that's just me. I mean, maybe I'm being a little...
Or Ant-Man.
Yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit more of a social justice warrior at this point and a bleeding heart, and I don't need to be that way because at the end of the day, they're all just fucking movies. But, I don't know, man. Or choose a Disney cartoon movie,
Right. Well, in this movie, I think it's from what I was reading. My friend Eric, he sent me an article on that thread that I posted that I read through today.
Yeah.
And talking about why it's important, and the article makes a lot of good points. It's the first movie, really, not just superhero movie. It's like really the first movie that's a mainstream fucking movie that has a primarily like 98% black cast. They're not sidekicks. They're not drug addicts. They're not negative. They're powerful. They're strong. They're smart.
Stereotype.
They're not a stereotype. They're strong, powerful women in the cast, strong, powerful men in the cast. They are from a nation that's representing African culture in a positive light.
Yeah.
They have technology. They're smart, and it is a mile. I think basically what I already say is it is a milestone, and it's blackness is what it says. And I'm like, and I get that. I do get that. And my question that I put on Facebook was purely genuine curiosity.
Yeah.
I had my own opinions already, but I mostly wanted to start a conversation and see what other people thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting question. And then I read that article and I was just like, it's just a weird movie to choose to do this with, and if Disney is paying off people to give a negative review, why would they do that? Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Because they don't need to.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if,
well, the whole thing isn't them paying negative reviews. It's them paying. Well, I mean, I guess it is too, but it's mostly them paying people for positive reviews for their movies too.
Yeah, that would be weird though, because we've talked about this. Like, if you have your own podcast, you can go to Fiverr and pay for audience.
Yeah, you could pay to have people come listen to your show, and not listen, but give you listens.
Yeah, they don't actually. Who knows if they actually listen? They're just clicking on the button and walking away or whatever. And it's like we never want to do that because that's not right.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Right. What's the point of that? It's a weird thing to do.
It's not organic. I mean, you may have your numbers looking good, but you're not going to have any interaction or any kind of any interaction with your fans because there's no real fans.
Yeah. So, I didn't mean to hijack
fans,
the South Park episode to talk about the Black Panther, but it was you just posted that, and then I literally had just read that article about these people doing this, and I love the DC movies. And matter of fact, I'm a bigger proponent of the DC movies than you, who is the huge DC fan.
It's hard because when it's something you love and love so dearly, and you see it done in a way that you don't agree with, it's hard to be like,
yeah, but it's a different medium, man, and that's how you have to think.
I know. No, I know. I get it. It just,
and it's just so it's like I can't understand the concept of going. It's like, what if you love that movie and you're going to still go to Rotten Tomato and write a negative review simply because you don't agree with what? I don't get with what they're not agreeing with. I get it's supposed to be Disney's business practices. But I guess I'm not understanding how bad
the reason.
I don't understand the reasoning behind. One, I don't understand if Disney is paying people to give positive reviews and negative reviews. What's the frickin' point? Because at the end of the day, the only review that matters to Disney and
it's yours
is what?
Well, it's yours, the viewer, and your money that matters.
Yeah, they're gonna make more regardless, right? And they're going to make more based on the return, their ROI. That's the review they worry about. So I don't understand where it's coming from.
And I don't think that it's, I don't know, it might be, but I don't personally think at this time that it's Disney paying reviewers for good reviews or shit like that. I think what it is we talked about it before, but I don't necessarily care for professional critiques and professional reviewers because they get paid to go see this movie, or they get, free all this comp shit. And if you look at a lot of these movies that have high critic scores, they'll have audience scores that don't line up. Or if they have low critic scores, they have audience scores that don't line up. Like, look at the DC movies, have all low critic scores, but they all have medium to high audience scores. Yeah. And look at the Marvel movies, they all have super high critic scores, and they have mid to, some high audience scores. Yeah. So clearly critics and the audience see things in two completely different fucking lights.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting argument with that too, right? The fact that critics don't pay to see the movie, so they don't have the financial.
They have no investment.
They have no investment. Where when you pay to see the movie, and if, like, say you're a family of 3, and you pay for you and your significant other and.
I'm a family of 7, and it cost me $100 to go see a movie if I want to take all my kids. All things considered.
You have not let me finish a thought yet today.
Well, it's more fun this way.
Not really.
Well, it's fun for me.
Interrupting Penguin, man.
All right, finish your thought.
No, you ruined it. You took it. You took all the thunder and was like, oh, thing. And it's like, okay, thanks, man. Don't let anybody speak.
You're welcome.
This is why you're doing Y2CL.
Yeah, over there, nobody tells me to shut up.
Yeah, man.
Actually, Kaylee does all the time.
Yeah,
so
I'm just fucking with you. You made the point. I mean, I'm really just fucking with you. But right, dude, it costs you $100. That's just to get in the door. Never mind if you got soda or popcorn and anything else there.
It's insane. It's
that's insane. Why I don't, and so you want to like the movie at that point. You're like, I better like this movie.
Well, and I think when you pay for a movie, you're not more inclined to like it or enjoy it, but you're more inclined to be open to it because you have whenever, no matter what you do in your life, if you have some sort of investment to it, you're more invested into it. Yep. So you're going to be having a more honest opinion.
Exactly.
Like if I get and this is weird, this is honest to God truth. If I get a computer for free, or if I get a piece of technology for free, I don't really give a shit about it. If I pay for it, I take care of it and I love it. And that's the honest truth.
That's true through everything in life, man.
Yeah. As I was an example, so like.
I think that's why you wreck your first car if your parents buy you a car, because you just drive it to the ground.
Yeah.
And then when you buy that first car yourself, you're like, I'm at 1,500 miles. I better get the oil changed.
Right.
So, no, I totally get it, man. I don't know, man. I think it's a weird thing, and I don't really understand. I mean, this group is saying that claim to have been behind the negative response to Star Wars The Last Jedi, claim to have used bots to create multiple accounts for the sole purpose of rigging the score. And I just think that is just the wrong way of doing it.
There's always people out there who want to do nothing but destroy the world and cause chaos, and I don't understand those people, and I don't know why they want to just make things bad.
They obviously have a lot of passion for what they're doing and why they're doing it. It'd be interesting to talk to somebody that is a part of that movement, like somebody who's actually in the know of why they're doing it and how they're doing things.
That's a good thing. If anybody listening is somebody part of that group or knows somebody part of that group, have them contact us. I'd love to talk to them.
Because the one thing is, I don't want to not.
Maybe we're missing something.
Yeah, maybe we're missing something. Because if Disney is doing really shady business practices against Warner Brothers, but the thing is Warner Brothers not immune to doing things either like that, right?
No, I don't think any company is immune to any kind of,
especially a big company like
corporate
that.
espionage.
Especially big ones.
Yeah. We'll just call it corporate espionage because simply it's kind of what it is in some fashion.
But I think it's
I think it's
interesting.
If anybody out there knows anything, so I'm not meaning to talk over you. I'm sorry.
That's okay, dude. Go. I'm just giving you shit, dude. That really doesn't bother me so much because it's just funny because you've done it like, I don't know.
I've done it a lot. Tonight,
yeah. And it's just cracking me up because it's like I'm trying to say something and you're just like, oh, there goes my thunder.
Sorry. All I want to say is if anybody out there knows anybody or is on that side or thinks that that's the right thing to do or that should happen or for whatever reason has an opinion different than ours, contact us. I would love to talk to you about it on the air and kind of feel that side of the equation because like we said, maybe we missed something. I want to know all sides because
make me understand.
I only know my opinion. I only know what I think.
Yeah, I only know how I feel about it, and I just feel that I feel it's wrong.
Yeah.
But
wow, we are way off topic, man.
But at the same time, we might actually split this into some, like take this spot and split it into something else.
Yeah. We could because actually Morgan, this will be cut out, but Morgan Iverson, the guy who did Lumberjax, he actually has a whole huge thought on this specific topic about Black Panther that I was going to like, hey, come on, let's tell us your piece. As a black man, he's going to have a different opinion.
Maybe we take this whole section out because I think it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And then we create a separate episode for this. And
we could.
Maybe we just release it.
Material.
Do we release it next week though?
Yeah, we release it after. We release it after this is done.
Okay. And we're back.
Yeah. So that, like I said, there's some good stuff in that section I didn't want to lose in the cutting room floor. I felt like it was worthy of people listening to, I guess.
Well, we knew we were going to see that movie was coming out, and we wanted to save it for the movie.
But it didn't fit on a South Park episode at all.
No, we kind of got there in a weird way.
We did. It was very weird how we got to that. But the conversation got us through to the end, where we started talking about Morgan and Danny commenting on the Facebook page, and we decided, hey, you know what? Let's just stop talking about this here. Let's see if we can get them to come on the show and talk about Black Panther once the movie's out to see their thoughts about what this movie means to them, get their perspective, and then talk about how we felt about it too.
Yeah, and a perspective that you and I can't understand.
Right. As being two white dudes from Bremerton, from a suburb of Seattle, we can't see that side of it. I'd love to know that side of it. But we never live that.
Yeah, we can empathize, but we can never truly understand.
Right, exactly. So let's go ahead and take a pause here from us, and let's kick into our our review with Danny and Morgan talking about Black Panther.
Cool. Well, let's just start with it normally as we would. And we have Danny J. Quick and Morgan Iverson here with us. Two prolific comic book writers, developers, artists, and
creators.
And we got them here because I think we're going to talk about Black Panther. And this movie is a significant movie, not just in the Marvel universe, but what it also means for the African American culture and what it means to a disenfranchised group for a very long time on a big budget scale of a movie of this magnitude.
Well, and for movies in general too. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, movies in general. And we wanted to bring two people on that could speak to that much better than two white boys from Bremerton.
Right. Well, I had made the post on Facebook, and both Morgan and Danny commented on my Black Panther question Facebook, and so I figured, what better way to talk it out than to bring them both on to the show, and let's hear what they have to say about the importance of this movie and what it means to them, because I don't know, and I'm very curious to find out.
Well, if you go through the history of superhero movies, right? You have Superman, you have Batman, you have all the X-Men, you have Spider-Man, you have Iron Man, you have all these movies, and what do they all have in common? It's like when Obama was elected. If you look back and you looked at all the presidents on a poster, you see the one thing they all have in common. They're all fucking white.
Right.
You know? And so it's kind of cool to come to this point where and I can empathize, but I can't understand, right?
Yeah.
So it's better to have people on that can actually understand and express their feelings in that way.
I'm still stuck on y'all calling us prolific. I'm just honored. I'm just honored to be on the show.
Hey man, I enjoy your guys' work, dude. I've read your books. I like them.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys can come on anytime you want. Are you kidding?
Yeah, you want to come on and talk about something? Just hit me up, man. Let me know.
Always.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So everybody saw it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Several times.
I think Morgan's seen it once or twice.
So what was your guys' favorite part of the movie? Let's start there. You're breaking up like crazy.
So wait, Dan, are you in Durham area?
I work in Durham.
Nice. I will be in Durham in May.
Oh really? Are you coming to what is it? NC Comic Con? No, that's November.
No, I have the company I work for has an office in Durham, and they're sending me out there to do some training to train one of the teams out there.
Okay, cool. Will it be Infinity War time, like early May or late May?
It'll be late May. Yeah, it'll be probably the second or third week of May.
Okay, cool. We might have to see if we can link up or something like that. Me and we're gonna take you out to eat or something.
Yeah, that'd be great because I don't know anybody there besides one dude who works at the company that I know.
Morgan knows all the places in Durham. I live out in Graham, which is about 45 minutes south of Durham, but I work in Durham and I've hanged around Durham. It's just I try to stay away from there. My wife grew up out there, and it used to be kind of dangerous out there. So,
but the baseball stadium looks nice. I mean,
yeah. The downtown has gone through some gentrification recently.
Yeah.
It is beautiful down there and expensive.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. All right, Morgan's back.
See, what had happened was Killmonger had came back, and he wasn't really trying to hear what I had to say, so he tried to cut my connection off. That's what it was. I apologize.
Man,
you're telling me that crocodile scarring looked kind of fake, dude.
Hey, man, listen, I had to throw him off the cliff real fast. That's all. That's all.
Nice. All right.
Give him the John Cena off the waterfall.
Right.
That's funny.
All right.
So we started off with asking the question, and let's get the movie stuff out of the way because I think that's gonna. Everybody's excited about what they saw, and I'm kind of curious what your guys' favorite part of the movie, or you know what I mean, what the overall storyline maybe, or what what's the word, message that you're hearing when you're watching this movie was your favorite part, or maybe it's just a scene, you know? And Danny, I think you were starting to go, and
oh yeah,
and then Morgan got in his Killmonger fight, so I thought maybe you can.
Yeah, but I ended it quickly though.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you could restart.
All right, I'll jump in there. I think my favorite part of the actual movie was just the way that the characters were. They had real motivations, and they, each character, Killmonger and especially Killmonger and T'Challa, their backgrounds led them to a point, and just their conflict felt so palpable. It was just like I could really feel what each character's motivation was. I could kind of empathize with, Killmonger there for a minute, which made him, even more of a villain. Like it, and I feel like it changed, the outcome of all of Wakanda, at the end of the movie. So I think their conflict was my favorite part of a whole bunch of likes in the movie. What about you, Mark?
It's hard for me to pick. It's hard for me to pick one thing, or one scene that means a lot. I mean, I think the most poignant scene in the movie for me would most likely be Killmonger's line before he, went ahead and allowed himself to die was an extremely poignant moment, because I as a person understand Killmonger's point of view. Like I understand why he was going about things the way that he did. I just don't agree with the way that he went about it. Like I changed my Twitter name to Killmonger Chala, because I'm a mixture. I'm a mixture of both. You know what I'm saying? In my mentality about, the situation that they did such an incredible job of putting out there. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of Ryan Coogler for accomplishing in this movie is he's taken a conversation that happens in the African American community and putting it forward in a movie in a way that is deep reaching for the African American community as a whole, because it's really the fight of two ideologies. I mean, one of the things, and I can't wait to see the director's cut of the movie, because I really believe he's gonna. Oh yeah. I really think he's gonna be talking about I'm not saying that he was looking for the Malcolm to MLK play off of each other, but a lot of the mentality in that conversation comes from the same vein. From the civil rights movement, when you had MLK that was trying to be nonviolent, and you had Malcolm that was by any means necessary. He wasn't looking to hurt you. He wasn't looking to cause issues or whatever. But if you bring it to his door, then he's going to respond with force. And whereas MLK knew the importance of making sure that everybody sees the atrocities that are going to come from this. And it's on one side. And Malcolm didn't care about which side it was going to be on. We're going to defend ourselves. And Killmonger, he went past Malcolm, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Because he was, Killmonger was going to bring the fight to you. So, his last line, man, like that hit me like all the way in the heart, because I've read I've read a lot of the history and been to the African American Museum, Smithsonian Museum, and seen the exhibits and stuff like that. And that line is something that a lot of slaves did do. They did jump in the water because they knew it was better to die than to live in bondage. They would kill their kids because they knew it was better to die than to live in bondage. And Killmonger had that in his core, so,
yeah, it was a powerful statement.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah. So I think for me, that's definitely one of the most poignant moments, but there's so many really good moments in there, man, that it's hard to narrow it down to one for me.
I'm interested to hear what y'all's favorite parts of the movie were.
For me, the thing that I liked the most about the movie, when I went in to go watch it, there was such a buildup for it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it was coming from this whole other side that you're not used to having. The last time I remember people being this hyped was when Boys in the Hood came out and Colors.
Good grief.
That's the last time I remember, because and I was in my early 20s when those movies came out, and that's the last time I remember that much hype going into a movie of this caliber. Right? I liked it because when I sat down and watched it, it was all accessible.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like there was a hidden meaning or a hidden agenda going on to show, hey, this is our struggle. It was just right there.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of fact. And it was cool, man. The way Coogler, that guy, he did an amazing job. He took a normal, like when I say normal, I mean, he took an everyday superhero that, not the superhero themselves, but the way that superhero movies are made, right? And things. And he just made a storyline that brought a lot more depth than you're used to. And a deeper meaning. Like when he shot his girlfriend, he said, "Don't worry, babe, it's gonna be okay."
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because he had
badass.
He had a motive. Yeah, well, he had an ulterior motive that was so much more. It's like his mission meant more to him than his life.
Yeah,
and anybody else's life. And you don't get that in the standard superhero movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing. That scene there was like, oh, this guy's for real.
Yeah.
No fucking around.
No, not at all. Yeah, man. So for me, it was like, one, I just gotta say, Michael B. Jordan is a phenomenal actor, and oh my god, was he amazing as Killmonger. And dude, he was fantastic. Like, his whole narrative, the whole movie was just, it was great. He had motives, and he had the train. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they built his character up in the right way. I think my most favorite scene in the movie, though, it's just a fun scene, though, is when his sister Shuri has the Panther gauntlets on, and it's just like blasting Killmonger down before he gets up and knocks her down, But just that whole scene where she's just taking him down on those things, and she was actually my favorite character in the movie, honestly. I like
her colonizer line. I lost it.
Which line?
When she called the guy, who's the guy that the CIA
Everett
agent.
Ross.
Agent Ross.
Yeah, and she calls him colonizer.
Oh my God!
Man.
Oh my God! That was.
Oh, that was great.
Don't scare me like that.
I was like,
colonizer.
Yeah.
That's better than crackers. I'm just saying.
That was really, really good.
Sure, it was great.
Yeah, I also like the fact that in the movie it was very, it's very much, there was this amazing country of Wakanda, and they pretty much had equality for men and women, and it was just powerful, and the visuals and all the costumes and the colors and everything was just so vibrant and awesome looking. It was overall the movie to me just had a great feel to it,
Well, I like the fact that Killmonger's character was calling out their bullshit.
Oh yeah, that too.
And you got all this, you provide all this, and you don't support your people around the world. What are you doing?
Yeah,
and that's, I think, meant more to him than just his his father dying. I think that was a part of it. But I think the fact that this culture and this country exists, that is the richest country, the most technologically advanced country in the world, and you're not helping your people.
Yeah. I think I was reading an article earlier, and they were talking about how there's a lot of contrast in this movie, how there was the nationalism. Well, there, some of the characters were, nationalists, and some were isolationists, and then there were some who, and in the Black community, there's like, all right, sometimes some people see it as, all right, there's us, and then there's everybody else. And Wakanda was they had that similar thing going on, but it was Wakandans and then everybody else, not, Black people and everybody else. It was just, okay, what's his name? Black Panther even said it, I'm the king of Wakanda, not everywhere else. So just the juxtaposition of how they showed, the different views that are, can be within just within a minority group. It was just, they just did such a good job.
They did. And I love the fact that at the end of the movie, in the ending scene, when T'Challa and Shuri are they brought all back around back to the apartment complex, and you see that T'Challa has grown, and like the whole thing with Killmonger has made him realize he needs to share the wealth, for lack of a better term, with the rest of the world and what they can do. And just the fact that the movie doesn't end with everything going back to status quo. The movie ends with the character growing and everything moving forward to the next logical step, which is a beautiful touch to bring it back around like that.
Yeah, I mean that's when that's why I said for me, I really have both. I have Killmonger's mentality about things, and I have T'Challa's mentality about things, and that's what makes it hard. Is because I don't think T'Challa is ignorant of the suffering of African Americans around the world. He's not ignorant of it, but he's also aware that what's my dude from Get Out's
W'Kabi,
his name? Yeah, W'Kabi. Like W'Kabi had said that, if you bring them in here, then they're going to bring their problems here. That is definitely it's a thought process that it would be an equivalent in America would be Jay-Z when he put out his album the 4 for 4 album. He talks about in the story of OJ, he says I'm not black, I'm OJ, and then he waits for a few seconds and says okay, you know what I'm saying, because he's saying like you can move on, you can get out of the hood. And you could dissociate yourself from the hood because OJ came from the hood. You could dissociate yourself from it, but that does not mean just because you moved out of the hood, people are going to look at you differently or whatever. But then OJ also had a reputation for looking down on the people that were from the same place he was from. So like if you had other black people that moved into the community, OJ himself would look back at those black people and be like, I don't know about this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't really know that we should do this. They're just going to bring their drugs and their, you know what I'm saying? So the same stereotypes that were put on him when he was in that same situation, now he brings those with him. And I think that's part of the dichotomy of it. You can't because you also have to be concerned if you're T'Challa, okay, if we open ourselves up to it, okay, what's to stop us from having to fight the entire world now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We know colonization is a thing. They know we have this wealth now. They know we have this technology. Why wouldn't the whole world come together to just take it from us like they did everywhere else? You know what I'm saying? And
right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like another one of my favorite lines from Killmonger was in the beginning when he was in the museum. And he talked about the vibranium weapon, and he was
I'll take this off your hands. Don't worry about that.
Take this off your hands. And then she was like, no, this isn't for sale. He was like, oh well, how do you think your ancestors got it? You thought they bought it? You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
Another.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's another thing, and that's why I say like that Ryan Coogler he perfected the dichotomy of very hard conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very hard. And they didn't try to hide it. They didn't try to sugarcoat it. He put a lot of true African culture in the film because, like for African Americans, one of the biggest struggles that we have in this country is that every other nationality, one of the most beautiful things about America, period, is that we're a melting pot. We're the truest melting.
Yep.
We're the truest melting pot on earth. We have like the most nationalities and the most cultures that come together and meld as one country of anywhere in the world. That's the most beautiful thing about America to me as a person and as an American. But for African Americans, we can't trace our lineage back to Africa.
Right.
It's impossible. You know what I'm saying? For if you're an African American that can actually trace your lineage,
stops
back,
at the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can, so for us, the only culture that we have, so like if you're an Irish American, you can trace your lineage back to Ireland. If you're English American,
Yep.
you see what I'm saying? So for most African Americans, especially when you start looking, that's a really deep thing for you to want to be able to connect back to. Okay, what is my tribe? You know, where did I come from? What are those traditions? And Ryan Coogler himself, Chadwick Boseman himself, you know, they talked about those things in some of the interviews and said that they wanted to make sure they gave an authentic feeling from not just a country, but from tribes, you know, and making sure that they put that forward in the colors that they represented and different things like that. So it's the movie is way deeper than you can. I think anybody could watch this movie and enjoy it, but there are so many other layers that you could be sifting through for, years to come now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, it's obviously that this movie touched you in a very specific way, in a very meaningful way, which is, for me, I can't name a Marvel movie that does that. I'm excited to see the Hulk on screen. I'm excited to see Spider-Man, but nothing that they're going to do is going to touch me in that way because there's nothing I can experience that is on the same level as that. Yeah. So that's a great way. It's a beautiful way of explaining it. It's cool.
Yeah, like you said that a minute ago. I liked a lot. You said that they touched on all these social issues in the movie, and they didn't shy behind or sugarcoat anything. But what Ryan Coogler also was able to do with this movie is not only were they not sugarcoating anything, but it is all done accessibly to where it's not done in a way that's over the top and in your face. It's done in a way it's truthful, honest, and it's there and it is what it is, and it's done to where it still fits the story.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not aggressive in its nature. And explaining what they're going through and why things are happening the way they're happening within the storyline.
And I think one thing I also like about it is that most of the things that he put in the movie, he didn't say, okay, this is right or this is wrong. Of course, in the end, Black Panther overcame Killmonger, but he learned from the things that he was saying. So even you can look on Twitter now and you can still see people are having these conversations about who was right and who was wrong and what is the way to actually, proceed in real life. And it's just crazy. Like, it's crazy how they were able to pack all of this information, all of this wealth of of conversational tidbits in this 2-hour movie. It was just crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's amazing that a movie like this can bring conversation out in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
You know, I think I didn't even put those two together. And Morgan, I think you hit it on the button when you said, when you look at T'Challa, he's really a representation of Martin Luther King. And then Killmonger is really that representation of Malcolm X. Two amazing leaders in the black community that had two, I don't know that Malcolm X was so different than Martin Luther King in the message that he was trying to convey, but in the means in which he did it.
The execution was different.
Yeah, and the exexecution was different.
That's pre-Mecca, Malcolm X too. Pre-Mecca.
Well, I mean, the thing when Malcolm was still,
that's important, actually.
When Malcolm was still with Elijah Muhammad, his mind was way more clouded. He didn't see Islam as the religion; he saw it more so as the cult that Elijah Muhammad had made it. But if you, one of the beautiful things that you see, and that's one of the things that I would have loved to see with Killmonger. I mean, how he went about, him dying, and like I said, that moment was poignant, and I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened, but one of the things that I would have, one of the things I also would have loved to see is, does he also, like Malcolm, have somewhat of a turn? You know what I'm saying? Not that he differentiates himself or delineates himself from what his original thought was, but in the same way that Malcolm realized that he had been brainwashed. You know what I'm saying? It's when he came into contact with the true religion, and one of my favorite interviews Malcolm ever did is once he had went to Mecca and seen. He said one of the things that changed him is when he went to Mecca and he saw that there were people of every nationality that were there that were worshiping Allah and doing all the things together, and it wasn't about color for them or anything like that, and they truly accepted one another as brothers based on the religion. He said that's one of the big things that changed him and started to soften his stance. And so for Killmonger, he was immediately rejected when he first came by the entire council. T'Challa had an issue with him immediately, even though he knew the truth of who he was. But I think at the time when he first got to the council, T'Challa didn't know what he was going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And the way that Killmonger came in and then immediately said he wanted the throne. I mean, like when I remember being in the theater when he said he wanted the throne, and everybody was saying, you can't do it. Don't challenge him or whatever. I was like, if he doesn't accept the challenge, he's being a punk. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to accept the challenge. And
hey, but I knew as soon as he accepted that challenge, I knew it was not a good look. I knew it was not going to go well for him.
It was not going to fly the right way.
It shocked me at the theater, like that whole scene, that whole progression of it.
You knew it was coming, but it still shocked you.
But when he finally got to it and he said, "I accept your challenge," I was like, "You shouldn't have done that. You should have done that."
But you get your butt kicked, boy.
That's another one of the things that That's another one of the things that I think they executed really well. Like those fights, both the fight with M'Baku and Killmonger. Both of those fights were really, really well done.
They were intense, man. They were intense.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Killmonger one was amazing in the level of. I don't want to say I was going for Killmonger. But at the same time, like that fight was just it was really visceral and it was really intense. And when Killmonger turned around and said, "Is this your king?" I was just like, "Dude, is that my king? I don't know.
Not anymore.
I guess not. I mean, you just whipped him, so I just think they did a really good job with those scenes. And like I said, with Killmonger and Malcolm, like one of the things I think I would have liked to see if they had not gone that route is, does Killmonger, after he's come into true contact with Wakanda, and the fact that like you got Okoye that will die for that throne. Like that's another one of the scenes that I love the most between Okoye and Nakia when Killmonger took the throne and Okoye said, "No, I'm loyal to that throne. I'm loyal to Wakanda.
Yeah,
I can't just run off." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that scene. I thought that was so cool. It brought such a depth to her character that if she just would have left with them, it would have been so trope.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It would have been just something that happens all the time. And the fact she's like, no, I'm staying here. And it took really the realization that her lover has turned against Wakanda as a whole with him attacking T'Challa the way he did, and the fact that the challenge wasn't over, right?
Yeah,
T'Challa come up. The challenge is not over. I'm not dead. Let's do this.
I felt like Okoye at the end. Like I really felt like she was protecting Wakanda. She wasn't fighting for, she wasn't fighting for the Black Panther. Her whole role was to protect Wakanda. So when she saw at the end that, Killmonger and W'Kabi, they were fighting against Wakanda. It wasn't, that she was rebelling against them. She was protecting Wakanda against them because they were now, on the side against protecting Wakanda. So like oh man, the characters.
She was protecting the tradition.
Yeah.
The tradition of what that was, and she saw everybody else denying tradition of what the Wakanda hierarchy is, and she's like, "What the fuck? You can't do this."
Exactly. It just like when the fight between T'Challa and Killmonger was going on, did she like that T'Challa was losing? No, but was she gonna stop it? No. You know what I'm saying? Which is why when T'Challa's mom responded and said and was like, "Stop this." That bothered me.
That we can do?
I was like, you can't. I was like, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter that Killmonger's whooping him. This is the way that we do things. You can't all of a sudden change it. You know what I'm saying?
But I think the way that they set up Shuri though, also because she's the non-traditionalist. I think she's going to be the future of Wakanda. She's going to bring them out of that, out of all of that. Yeah. Okay, this hand fighting to decide who's the king stuff, and the conflict between her and M'Baku. Where he came up to her and said, "Oh, you got this girl who bucks at tradition." I think they set her up for the future there. I think that's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
I don't think they should change that though. The tradition of how they go about doing things in the Black Panther ritual and all that stuff. If they change that, I think that would be detrimental. You can't change stuff like that, man.
I don't think it's. See, that's the thing with Black Panther though, because who's the philosopher that has the golden median? Well, there's a philosopher that talked about a golden median, and he basically everything that's good about tradition you keep, but the stuff that wasn't working, you have to get rid of that stuff. Like that was Black Panther's arc. He said, okay, these dudes, my father and them, they were doing this all by tradition, but they were lying. The things that they were doing wasn't the truth. So you can't keep following in the footsteps of the past if it's, hurting your people. So I think some growth there would be good.
Yeah, you're thinking of Aristotle.
Yeah, Aristotle.
Yeah. Well, and the movie ends, they definitely have growth because they open up the Wakanda outreach program down there in Oakland. Oakland. And, they have that whole moment where he brings the ship out and all the kids. Man, I don't know. I think the whole message of the movie was done in such a good way.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I said that's one of my, like, the even the Wakanda Forever, like, everybody's using that right now. And I think it could put people off, just like it put people off to see, Black people coming to the theater with, full African stuff on or whatever. It puts some.
Man, those pictures were so cool. I love that stuff. I love seeing that.
Yeah, but
that's great.
But see, that's when as usual in America, you're going to find different, sections that will honestly just live in hypocrisy.
Not accept or understand it.
Yeah, they just live in hypocrisy land. So I mean, they forget the Star Wars everybody's cosplaying, or you know what I'm saying, or what I'm saying. Like, they forget all of that stuff. That doesn't matter. What they see right now, they don't like because it doesn't identify with them, and if it doesn't identify with me, F it. You know what I'm saying? And that's honestly one of the things that but that's one of the things that bothered me surrounding the movie. But at the same time, it's not. There was nothing that was going to diminish this moment for me. That's why, like, I was really, I think they made the official number was 241 million domestic.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying, in 4 days. So I think it was 410 internationally.
Yeah, with international numbers.
So I mean that I don't think people truly. It's being put out there. There are a lot of articles right now that are going around, but I still don't know that people grasp the full weight of how huge that can be. This is a truly watershed mark, and not just in African American history, but in the entertainment industry, and for people like me and Danny, you know what I'm saying, that are just starting out with writing and trying to make our own footing and have dreams of directing and
it's validation.
Exactly. It's because the common trope was that African Americans, number one, African American director, this has never been done ever. You know what I'm saying? That type of budget that's been given out.
Not even Mike Singletary or Spike Lee. None of those guys have ever gotten anything like this.
But see, that's one of the other reasons that Spike Lee is so respected, because he's never had those type of budgets, and his films are still crazy revered. Like Tyler Perry deserves a lot of credit as well, because he built himself from plays up to the point.
Dude, I love me some Medea.
Yes,
everybody loves.
Me and my girl, we sit back, we watch Medea all the time, man.
So, I mean, that's why Black America is reacting in the way that they are to this movie, because this can open a plethora of doors, especially like I said, for me and Danny. When we go to conventions now, because Black Panther is such a huge thing. And one of the things that I loved the most that I saw go on in this movie is that it was not, when I went the second time to see the movie, half of the crowd was black and half of the crowd was white.
That's cool. That's awesome.
To me, those are the best moments in this country, is when we don't give a D about the race. The race does not matter. It's about what is this we're watching? What is this we're participating in? What is this we're doing? What is this we agree on? You know what I'm saying?
It's like
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Those moments are the most palpable times that you're proud to be an American. And I remember when I was walking out, I was just like, man, this is amazing, because it's not just genuine excitement and people being happy as African Americans. And it wasn't just African Americans going to the movies and saying this movie was awesome when it really wasn't. One of the things that I was really proud of is that they put Ryan Coogler and that entire cast knew the pressure that was on them, and they rose to that pressure. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that, like, going back to President Obama and Michelle, one of the things I appreciate them most for is that they understood the position that they were in. It doesn't mean Obama did everything correctly. It doesn't mean that he didn't make mistakes, but he didn't do anything that people can point to and then denigrate the entire.
Dude, he wasn't embarrassing. Look what we got now. The guy's a total embarrassment.
But he and Michelle both understood that they could not do that to us. They went their entire 8 years. They were fully aware that they could not put themselves in a position to do anything that would be seen like that, because then it would denigrate the entire race for the next who knows how long. You know what I'm saying?
Man, give me 8 more years, or Obama. Are you kidding me? After that guy's Trump is a joke, man. It's embarrassing. It is full on embarrassing, and it's just like, So when you guys think back on this movie now, and we're gonna know how important this movie is, especially in like 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Because like you said, this is a watershed moment.
Yeah.
If you were to have to compare it to other ones like Boys in the Hood and like Colors, because those two movies to me were a turning point in the 90s. Mm-hmm. That's when all of a sudden like Menace to Society came out, and a bunch of movies like that came back to back. Yeah. And the only problem with those movies is they tend to show the community in a very negative light overall. Yeah. Right? They showed all the stereotypes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, where this movie didn't do that. It just showed the culture as a whole, and I think that was one of the most wonderful things about it.
Me too.
You know, but where do you put this in the pantomime of all the other ones?
I think we'll see. Shortly.
I mean, you got to add like Malcolm X and all that into that too, right?
Yeah, I think we'll see shortly though, because I see that they added Letitia Wright and the guy who played M'Baku. They're going to be in the Infinity War movie, but
it's going to be
besides
exciting.
that, they don't have any other roles. Like there's a reviewer that I watch online, Grace Randolph, who breaks down stuff like that, and she was like, this is one of the problems in black film, how just like with what's her name who plays how to get away with murder, Viola Davis, even she has a hard time getting roles, and but I think we'll see very quickly if these people get roles in the upcoming months, because they performed great in this film, and there's no reason for them not to be working. So if by the time Infinity War comes out, they have more films on their, upcoming that are going to be coming out for them, then I can go ahead and I'll be able to say, okay, this movie has already done, has already impacted the culture in a way. I think we'll be able to see fairly quickly.
I think for me personally, I think this movie, impact wise, especially for African Americans, number one, again, it's unprecedented on every level. This level of a budget, a black director having that budget and having full and not having to curtail things in order to get it. Because when Chadwick Boseman was interviewing with Charlemagne the God and them on Hot 97, and when he was on there, he said that before Ryan even agreed to do the movie, he wanted to sit down with Marvel and get a feel for them. He wanted to get a feel for them to see whether or not they were getting ready to try to make him curtail things in the movie how they kind of wanted to. He was trying to get a feel for them and see if they were going to try to make him walk a line. So, this isn't in his original thought process as the directors to have Agent Ross and somebody else come and be a part of the movie, because you always need you always need a white lead or
such bullshit.
More than one supporting person or whatever. He wanted to get a feel for them and what they were getting ready to try to dictate for the film. And when he sat down with them, one of the things that Chadwick Boseman said that Black African Americans have to be conscious of is that you never want to say they and them. Like, one of the things that happened in the African American community that I'm not sure if y'all are aware of is that there's a faction of African Americans that were pissed about the excitement that African Americans especially had for Black Panther, because they felt like, well, y'all gonna run behind this movie that Disney's producing, and y'all gonna allow these rich white folks to make a whole bunch more money off of y'all, and y'all going out here and cooning for these people and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? They were making these type of stupid points and pretty much saying Black people shouldn't be supporting this movie like that because they're just setting you up. And I'm like, man, you guys sound like the stupidest bunch of idiots I've ever heard in my life. I mean, but that's something else that Ryan, he doesn't touch on specifically that thing, but a lot of the things that he puts in this movie go over all of these type of conversations, because all of these type of conversations happen in the African American community. You have woke folks, and I'm doing the quotations. Y'all can't see it. You know what I'm saying? You have woke Black folks that I don't care. I mean, if you did not wake up and spit in the face of a white person, then you're not Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are Black people. Yeah. There are Black people that are that hardcore with things. You know what I'm saying? And that is the exact type of stuff that we hate when white people think that way. You know what I'm saying? So somebody rides through your town and they have a Confederate flag, hanging off the back, and they're shooting shotguns in the air saying, F N words.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Then you can have an issue with that. But then you do.
I was hoping you were going to do it, Morgan. I was hoping you were going to do it.
You're so polite.
I was hoping you were going to drop the N-bomb.
You can swear and say what you want, man. It's fine.
You can swear and say whatever you want, man. You don't need to worry about it.
I was trying to be considerate for the listening audience.
Oh, fuck that, man. If they're uncomfortable, they shouldn't be listening. When you're talking about everybody going to the theater and dressing up in African garb and doing that whole thing, and people were uncomfortable with that. It's like, fuck that, man. I want more people doing that.
Look, I'm trying to tell you guys, you don't understand how much it means to me to have seen that, to see the dichotomy that was in the crowd. I wish there had been white people.
That's awesome.
Here. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved that. You know what I'm saying?
At the first show that I went to, there was a young white lady who had on, the Dora Milaje get up. She had her face painted and everything.
See, I love that.
That's so cool.
Love that because because
I'll go there and do that, but you guys got to be there with me to make sure I don't get my ass beat.
We got you back to
I got you. I promise. I promise, man. But I mean, I love stuff like that, because one of the things that I think is a tradition or a common trait in the African American community, for the most part, is that if you're the white guys that end up coming to a black party, people aren't getting ready to not be partying because you're at the party. We're gonna welcome you in and be like, "Hey man, dance, let's get it.
Yeah.
Here's some drinks." You know, like it's inclusionary. You know what I'm saying? So I've never been. I went to HBCU. I had a lot of white friends in high school and stuff like that. I've never lived in that type of society where black people, where there were going to be white people with us that were partying or doing something and we were all having fun, where we were not inclusionary. So when I run into black people that want to be on the exclusionary side, I'm like, man, if you don't get the F out of my face, I'll fight you. You know, because it's the same.
And back
to
the movie, that was another thing that they built into Killmonger's character. He became what he hated.
Exactly.
You know,
and that's what T'Challa told us.
So against this colonization, but then in the end, he wanted to use those same tactics to go take over the world, and that's why again the movie was so great.
Yeah.
One of the things that I live by is, listen, without forgiveness, healing can never be there.
I agree.
You know, and at some point, it's like, okay, you know, you have to be able to recognize that all these ridiculous and atrocious things have happened through time, you know, but we got to live together. We got to work together. We got to love together. We got to eat together. We got to make this country together. And if we're constantly at odds, that never happens the right way. And sometimes it takes a dumbass movie to bring that kind of stuff to light. It's amazing what something can happen now, because now you're going to have kids that grow up watching this movie, being black or white or Asian, and they're going to want to be Black Panther.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they're going to go to Halloween and they're going to dress up like Black Panther, and they're going to come in and say trick or treat, and you're going to look it up. It's going to be a little white kid underneath it, and you're going to be like, that is amazing.
Yes, I will.
You're not even going to care.
I will go buy.
That's awesome.
I'll go buy new bags of candy for that kid.
He gets the fun size Snickers.
That kid gets completely new candy, and I'm getting all chocolate candies.
Can we just agree the alligator scarring on Michael B. Jordan was fucking crazy scary looking?
Dude, it was intimidating.
And to say that each one of those bumps represented somebody he killed, and I was like, oh my God,
that's an actual. I have to send you the link to the story that I saw, but that's a actual thing that they do, and in some African nations that they, you know, each kill represents, you know, one of those scars. So they.
God, he had his whole body covered, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, I want to get a Killmonger. I'm trying to get a Killmonger like prequel going. Like, I just want to see him going around like destabilizing countries and.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I would watch the shit out of that movie, man.
Hey, listen,
that would be so good.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
With 100% certainty, as long as Marvel does not block me, Lumberjax, Killmonger, and T'Challa gonna be in something. Somehow, some way, that's going down.
You could do it independent and just not charge for it. Then they can't do shit.
That's how I did.
You know what?
That's how I did the Aceblade versus Deadpool. Just put it out there. Nobody paid me to do this. I didn't make any money from it. It's out there.
It's called fan fiction, man.
Can't stop that.
There's a full-on Star Wars movie out there that was completely shot. It's like an hour and a half long. Yeah, and it's all fan.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
It's crazy.
That's, you know what? Another one of the things somebody said it earlier about about Shuri being their favorite character. I think one of the big things I loved about Shuri. One of the big things I loved about Shuri in this movie is seeing the obvious push. Not push, but because, you know, there were things there that are there, but again, like I said, it'll take people watching it a few times to pick up on it. But Shuri is a 100% representation of trying to make it cool for kids in general, but especially African American kids, to get into STEM. You know, get into science, get into math.
Oh yeah,
get into those things, because look what you can do just by your imagination and you putting your work into it. Like one of the lines I loved from Shuri was when T'Challa first got off the plane and said that the immobilizing things work fine. They work like they were supposed to. And Shuri said, how many times I have to tell you, just because something works doesn't mean that it can't be better. You know, you know, there are a lot of little things in there that like I was telling somebody yesterday, inspiration leads to big things. You know what I'm saying? So if you can inspire these kids to see Shuri on screen and they've never thought about going into math, or they've never thought about going into science. They've never thought about, any of those things, and they take those classes off, or they're not interested in class or whatever because nobody's stimulating their minds in those ways. Movies can help those type of things. You know what I'm saying? And I really loved how they presented Shuri to be able to do all of these cool things so that black kids can see a black woman that's that smart, that's being able to do things like that, so that they can say, yo, I want to grow up and be like Shuri. Not that I'm out here shooting people with Black Panther cannons, but maybe I can make some.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What's cool about Shuri too is in the comics, she was Black Panther for a while in the comics, and that's badass. And in the movie here, they've kind of taken away her want to be Black Panther, but they made her a technical genius, that rivals Stark and everybody else. So she's going to be in Infinity War, so it's going to be cool to see how her character develops over the next couple of movies she's going to be in.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her. I wouldn't mind seeing her and T'Challa both, in a Black Panther. I mean, they put Killmonger and Black Panther in, 2 different Black Panther suits. I don't see why, there couldn't be 2 Black Panthers. Shuri will be the perfect one to say, oh, why does there only need to be 1 Black Panther? I can help out doing this,
Right.
So
yeah,
I would love to see Okoye in that suit.
Or Okoye would destroy it.
Okoye would destroy people in that suit.
Dude, that's the spear work that she does is pretty impressive.
Oh man, that fight.
That's Michonne from the Walking Dead, right? Yeah. I mean,
that fight scene.
She already kicks ass in The Walking Dead. She's the best fighter in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So it made perfect sense to have her come in and.
Dude,
I think she's something like 40 years old too. I'm not 100% sure. Like I'm not 100 on her. I think she's almost 40 years old or something like that.
40 years old and fine as hell.
Yeah, but
Yep.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
That's what I'm saying, man. They just did like that fight scene was incredible. Like that like Ryan just dropped. I don't know if y'all saw. I posted something earlier where Ryan broke down that scene where she takes the wig off and throws it in the guy's face.
That was great.
He broke that entire scene down, and some of the stuff I saw and I got, and one of the things that I saw and I got was when before they go in there, when she was wearing the wig, she was irritated by it. She didn't like having the wig on. Yeah. And then when she gets in there, the first thing she does when she gets into the fight is throw the wig in his face and get it off of her because she doesn't really want it on in the first place. That is it's a subliminal message to African American women that you don't need weave, you don't need wigs, you don't need all of that to be beautiful and be who you are, to be strong. That was one of the messages that was sent there. But another thing that Ryan got into when he was breaking it down, and the thing that I didn't even see was he said the colors were out. If y'all haven't seen it yet, it's on my page somewhere.
Oh no, we both saw it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So man, that message was freaking amazing when he was talking about the colors he put in there to represent Pan-Africanism, putting in red, green, and black in that scene. And I was like, dude, you are ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For this to have been his 3rd movie, it's like, how is that even possible for him to be this good?
He's a savant, dude. I've not seen him touch anything that wasn't amazing, because Creed was awesome. Fruitvale Station was extremely impactful. So I mean,
and they made the movie for like $50. So.
Oh, he did Creed. He was the one who did Creed.
Yeah.
That was good, man.
His three movies are Fruitvale Station, Creed, and now this. So I mean,
is he doing Creed too?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's not directing it. He's I think he's executive producing. Sylvester Stallone is gonna direct this one, but he's gonna executive produce and help write, I believe.
Okay.
Wow.
It looks the poster looks good.
Yeah. He's got a couple of other projects on the way though. Him and Chadwick and Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan, they're the 3 who have projects lined up. The rest of the cast, like hardly any of them have any work lined up, after this movie. So
I bet they will, man. I bet they will.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I was saying. By the time Infinity War comes around, we'll be able to tell if it really impacted anything, because all of them, especially your boy M'Baku, like he stole the show in the movie. So M'Baku, I'm hoping he gets some work. I will feed you to my children.
That whole scene was awesome. No, I'm just kidding. We're vegetarian.
He starts to talk.
that mess was hilarious, man.
It was hilarious.
Are you done?
Are you done? Yeah.
Can you see anybody else at this point ever being the Black Panther though than Chadwick Boseman?
Oh, man.
That guy is amazing.
That it would be hard. I think. I mean, when it comes time for Oscars, the person that if I'm giving a nod for Oscars for this movie is Michael B. Jordan. He was.
Oh yeah.
He was ridiculous.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the best.
He was solid.
In my opinion, he's the best villain since the Joker in comic films. I mean, since Heath Ledger's Joker, he's probably the best for me. I mean,
he's definitely the scariest.
Yeah.
Well,
he just
beyond just being scary, it's the fact that you actually start to think that you like him as a person, and then he explodes.
That's
with
what's
these
scary.
random
Is you're
acts
like,
of
you find
violence
yourself backing
that makes
him.
you go, yeah, and you can understand where he's coming from.
The grandma by her throat, and then you're like, wait a minute, what was I thinking?
Right. Well, I knew he was scary as fuck when he shot his girlfriend. I was like, oh, this guy's for real.
But to me, I'm a villain driven. If there's a good villain in a story, I'm going to be intrigued by the villain and why they're like that. You know what I'm saying? When I write, I write, that's one of my goals is to I want to conflict. I want to conflict you with my villain. So I don't like making villains that are. I don't like creating villains that are strictly one-sided. Like they're just evil and F it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want there to be something matriculating somewhere that makes you like, I don't like this person, but I do though, and I don't know if I'm okay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
you want him to be charismatic to where it makes you go, I'd hang out with that guy, but I'd be scared as fuck when I did it.
Exactly. One of my favorite people to see like that is Dexter. Like Dexter I loved that series when it was on Showtime. And I used to watch that show, and I loved Dexter, and I hated him at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I really like when I can make a character that makes you feel both ways, and I felt like that about Killmonger. I completely understood him. I completely understood why he was doing what he was doing, and I completely understood his mentality. I just didn't agree with all of it, but I can't say I didn't understand it. Like Ultron was my favorite Marvel villain so far until now. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't care for Ultron too much.
See, thank you. See,
I loved Ultron.
I don't want to get back. Me and Morgan have had long conversations about that, but I didn't enjoy Ultron either. So I'm with you on that.
See, I did enjoy Ultron.
See, there we go. See.
So Morgan, when I go over there, I'll just hang out with you.
The smart ones here.
I knew there were at least two sane people in this conversation, man. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, Danny and me.
I
just thought Ultron was fun. I mean, it was a fun movie to watch.
His one-liners were amazing. I mean, they were.
Yeah.
I mean, it was way better than Loki. Like, really? Come on.
Mm.
Really?
Loki.
Did you guys see who was first tagged to do the Black Panther movie?
Oh yeah, Wesley Snipes
for the directing. No, not to play the Black Panther, but to actually direct the movie.
No.
Oh yeah, Ava DuVernay, right?
Yeah. Yep, Ava DuVernay, and I was like, that would have been interesting to see her take on it.
It definitely would have.
I think that it actually helped that she didn't get the movie because I believe when they were going through the talks, she was going through that same thing to see, if they were going to make her, tell a certain story or if she was going to be able to tell her own story. And I think her, turning it down gave
Ryan the job.
Gave Ryan the ability to, have more freedom with it. So I think, everything works out for, everything happened for a reason. So.
Isn't she doing Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back.
Yeah, she's doing Wrinkle in Time. That's what we're going to show up for, I'm sure.
Yeah, that looks pretty dope, actually. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I want to see that one.
And I was going to read that book, but then like the movie, like the poster started coming out. I was like, oh, now I don't have to read it. I can just watch it.
It's a short book, man. It's like 90 pages. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's too long.
Yeah. That's a book that you would have read like in 4th grade.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I never got around to it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun.
Hey, audio book it is.
Yeah, I might listen to it.
If you go buy the book, just tell them I'm buying this for my kid.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm going to say. No, this is for my daughter, man. I'm not reading this. No, absolutely not.
Oh my God. Well, shoot, man. I think that's I think we've come to an end.
I think we talked a lot about this in a lot of different aspects that we wouldn't have done without you two on the show. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your night. You know, it's late on the East Coast there, and meeting with us and talking about this and give us your perspective. It really means a lot to us.
Oh man, thank y'all for inviting us, man, for real.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, like we said, man, anytime you guys have something going on, you want to come on, just let us know.
Yeah, if you're dropping a new book, let us know and we'll mention it on the show for you.
Of course.
We appreciate it, man. We really do. And Lumberjax will be out.
Cool.
If the artists continue to do the right thing and I don't end up throwing them off the cliff, then Lumberjax should be done in March. It was supposed to be done in February. It got to push back the artwork. I just got a few pages of the layout. So, hopefully they get on the ball or y'all will see about me in the news. Either way, it's fine. It should be out in March, so I'll definitely be hitting you guys up sometime in March. And
sounds good.
Danny's getting ready to do an Indiegogo for King Supreme too. So
nice.
Oh yeah, March 17th.
Oh yeah, definitely come on.
Yeah, let us know. We'll get you on a signal boost for that.
Appreciate it, definitely.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, you guys have a good night, and let's talk soon.
All right, man. Thank y'all.
All right, and we're back for a second time.
Yeah, and the last time tonight,
and the last time
this
tonight.
Morning, depending on when you listen to this episode, because I don't know your schedule.
Yeah, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as we did making that and having a chance to talk with Danny and Morgan in a very free and very open style conversation about race, about culture, about this movie and you can tell this movie means a lot to those guys.
Yeah.
Not only individually but culturally as well, and it was amazing to hear how it was impacting them and what they were thinking of. I mean, they literally call it a watershed moment.
Yeah, and after the conversation, I can't help but agree with them. I was so glad we were able to have that conversation with them and hear that side, like we said earlier, a side of a movie or of that aspect that we can't see, but I love hearing about it, I love talking about it because I love the inclusion about things. The whole wanting to see kids of all races and colors dressing up as Black Panther or dressing up in African garb to celebrate the culture is wonderful. I love to see everybody dress up in anything they want to dress up to celebrate the culture of whatever they like or they enjoy.
Yeah. Like I said, man, if people are uncomfortable with them dressing up in African garb to go see the movie, then I want everybody to dress up in African garb to go see that movie because why the hell are you uncomfortable with that?
Yeah, why? Who cares? Have fun.
It makes up America, man. All those people's cultures, all of it together makes up America. This isn't Irish America or white Anglo-Saxon America. This is America. America is everybody together. And so I thought his views were very poignant and very cool. And frankly, I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you listen to interviews or music or you listen to people, you read articles, they talk about the appropriation of Black culture and how they don't like this, they don't like that. And it was like, no, man, this is a healing factor, man. Let's get people sharing ideas and sharing knowledge. And I thought it was really, really neat.
It was great. I'm just, for lack of a better term, I'm tickled that they were, and that's a horrible way to say it, but I'm very honored that they took their time out on a late Tuesday night to talk to us about this and give us their thoughts. So again, Danny and Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody who's listening, thank you for taking time to listen to this. It's, the more we talk about race openly and how we feel about things and how other people feel about things, the closer we can get to healing and for all of us and just be people and have fun with each other and love each other more and more.
Aw, be people.
Yeah.
Love people.
Aw. Way to make my happy, nice little thoughtful moment all dorky and weird. God.
Well, you do that on your own.
I know. So if you want to check out more on Danny and Morgan, what they do, they're both authors of comic books. Morgan writes a book called Lumberjax. It'll be out in March. It was just on Kickstarter. He was on an episode of our Kickstarter Signal Boost last month or in December. I can't remember which one. And it comes out next month. So look for it then. Danny writes a book called Aceblade and he writes another book coming out next month called King Supreme. They're all part of the Fourth Wall universe. I'll have links in the description down below so you can check out some of their stuff. It's great stuff. I've read the first 3 issues of Aceblade and it's a great series. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. So there you go.
That's a show.
I think that's a show. But before we go, we got to talk about where can you actually listen to us, even though you're listening to us now.
So if you don't know,
but then you could tell your friends that have the stuff how to listen to us,
or if by some magic chance this is just on somewhere you're listening to, you don't know hey, what is this? Where does this go? How do I do this?
Yeah, where did this magic come from?
We are Spoiler Country.
Maybe listen to it online. We do have quite a few people that listen through Chrome, the browser itself,
which is weird.
So, and if you are, just so you know, you can get us on the go.
Yeah,
and you can go up into your phone, download a podcatcher. When I say podcatcher that's like Podcast Go,
Overcast,
Overcast, or Podcast Addict, or Google Play,
or the podcast app on your iPhone,
Radio,
Spotify.
Yep, all these apps, we're in there, and you can listen to my amazing voice coming into your ear hole,
and mine too,
to give
and
you
my okay voice,
joy and humor, and then you can listen to Johnny's graining voice that will kill your other left.
I don't agree with that.
That's terrible. That's terrible. No, seriously. We're available across almost every platform. We're on iHeartRadio now and TuneIn.
Just search for Spoiler Country, you'll find us.
That's right. You want to communicate? You can do Patreon.
Yep, Patreon.
Twitter.
Patreon.com/Spoiler Country. You can go there and see the stuff. We try and post our episodes early there every time when we can. If we record them early, we post exclusive stuff there. We're getting more to being posting exclusive reviews and stuff there as well. We're going to think about doing this year. As Kenric was just saying, I horribly interrupted him again like I always do. You can talk to us on Twitter. We're most active on Twitter, so just Spoiler_Country on Twitter. We're on it all day long, sharing stuff, commenting on stuff, replying stuff, and talking to people everywhere we go. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're pretty much any social media you can probably find. We're probably going to be on. I mean, we're not on Snapchat, so don't look for us on Snapchat.
Right. We're not on Snapchat. We should be on Snapchat, though. I use Snapchat. We could be on Snapchat. You can set
Snapchat for us and you can run it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
All right, guys, we are out of here. Remember, expand your mind, read more.
See ya.